So our first guest is Robbi Renee, and Robbi is under the umbrella of Black Odyssey Media. Her book came out the end of December. It is called Somebody's Husband. And she is a romance author, and um, we welcome her to Black Office Matter TV. And if you could unmute Robbi so we can hear you, that would be great.
Hello, how's everybody?
We're
Great, how are
wonderful. How are
you?
you?
Now you're joining us from,
I live in Austin, Texas.
oh,
Okay.
okay. Did you all get snow?
So I'm from St. Louis. So yes, they got some snow, but it was like a
Okay, I
tablespoon.
know not based
Fine.
on the same, it wasn't St. Louis snow. I talked to somebody this yesterday that called me about snow, or was it this morning? Anyway, she said she was from St. Louis, and she said
Yeah,
she understood that when we get snow, it's a big deal, and we got
it's a
snow in
big deal.
Houston.
Yes,
So
yes. So we're just waiting for it to melt.
yeah,
I say y'all are getting excited and don't know how to act. You should see all the snow on the ground here in DC area.
Oh, I can only imagine. I don't miss it at all, so I'm not complaining.
yeah, yeah. I'm from the East Coast, and so I grew up with it, but it's pretty. But I'm glad we get to see it every 10 years, a little bit, and then
Yeah,
it melts and then it's gone.
Right.
But anyway,
exactly.
you're
Exactly.
going to be joining us at the National Black Book Festival. I saw that you
I am.
registered.
I
So
am.
we,
I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, look forward to meeting you in person. And
Yes.
you may or may not know, Rhonda is the literary correspondent at the festival. She has been for several years.
Yeah, so
And
I do all of the interviews with the featured authors, and I also like to walk around and get to know some of the authors who are on the floor as well. And
Nice.
so I post all throughout the event, so I can help to promote the not just the festival, but the authors who are a part of it.
That's awesome. I'm so excited. I've wanted to do it like the last couple years and I always miss the deadlines.
Well,
okay,
you
well,
got
I was
started
telling
early this time.
Yeah, I was telling the people, well, I was announcing that we're already at 30% in terms of sell through. So we will probably sell out of space by April. And
That's
a lot of
awesome.
times, people will wait till June. They figure, okay, I got plenty
Hmm.
of time. And normally we sell out in July. But this year I don't know. I don't know. It's maybe the more the word got out or people are doing more books. So sometimes people do a resolution. They want to get out more in 2025
Yeah.
with their books. And so,
Right.
but we're excited about it. And we're having a big Divine Nine push this
Yeah.
year as well. So that's going to
Yeah.
be really, really nice. We're going to do some special things for the Divine Nine authors, and we're inviting the Divine Nine chapters all over the state to
Oh, that's
attend.
awesome. Yes, that's my chapter will definitely be there. So
Awesome. What
Wonderful.
sorority are you in?
I'm a Delta.
Oh, you're a Delta. Okay, I'm a
Yeah,
Zeta.
contrary to the colors in my background.
I know because you're looking real Zeta-ish back there.
That's true. You have those Zeta colors in your background.
Like Zeta or SG Row, one of the two. No,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
Oh yeah,
because
Delta.
of
because you do have the gold
because of
chair too. I
the
see it.
chair on the
These are
side.
my
It could
favorite
be
colors, but crimson. I bleed crimson. So
Oh, it's all
okay.
good. It's all Greek love. Every year I always call all the Greeks to the front so we can take a photo together. And
nice.
I noticed that Gwen took that's the photo that Gwen used to send out to all of the Divine Nine. We want to make sure that we celebrate our Divine Nine authors.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure to look for you. I mean I'll be repping Zeta, of course, but like I said, it's all it's all
It's
divine.
all love, like you said. It's all love.
Yeah. And we're also going to be doing well, we're doing a monthly newsletter to the D9 organizations across the state. And each edition of that'll be separate from our regular newsletter that we send out to, everybody, the broad one.
Hmm.
This will go specifically to the D9 organizations. But every month we're going to be listing the names of the authors from each organization that have registered. with the link to their website so people can
Awesome.
contact with
Awesome.
them and
Yeah,
all
so
that.
I put it in my information. I'm also a member of the links.
I
So
saw that,
I
and we
have,
are reaching out to the
Nice,
links and Jack
nice.
and
yeah,
Jill. So we're
yeah,
doing all of them. So
that's
um,
awesome.
we look forward. So do you have a copy of your brand new book that just came out? Somebody's husband.
Of course, I have it right here next to me.
Okay. And it came out December, Christmas Eve.
December 24th. Yep, it
Okay.
came
Sounds
out
kind of
Christmas
spicy.
Eve. It's not, this is not as spicy as I can get,
Oh,
but
Okay.
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 but it has a little spice to it. It has a little spice to it.
Okay. Well, tell
Okay.
us the
Well, tell
general the
us.
plot.
Yes, so Somebody's Husband, it is about a man by the name of Dr. Dresden Xavier. He is a cancer research specialist who is partaking in a special cancer research for Black men dealing with colon cancer. And he actually lost his wife to cancer. So this is more of a second time around, second chance at love type of romance book. And he meets Harper Kingsley, who is a nurse that is working with him at the clinic, where they both are dealing with some grief and some loss in their lives as adults, and trying to figure out, how do I do this after losing the love of my life, who I thought would be, the love of my life. So it is a little deceiving when you see Somebody's Husband at the title, but it really, the root of it is Dresden knows that he wants to be a husband. Like, that is what he is destined to be, and he lost that. So he's trying to figure out, can he find that again?
Okay. Now
Well, it
somebody
sounds like
asked,
a
can they see
really,
the cover again? So can you put it a little closer
yeah,
to the camera
Yes,
so people can see it? Because somebody did
very
ask
yes.
nice. It
about that.
sounds like a very emotional book.
It is. It is. So trigger warning, if you have, lost a loved one to cancer, or lost a loved one, period. Definitely trigger warning. It gets pretty sad dealing with some things about grief, but it definitely comes back around. It is a happy ending. It is a romance, but it is a heavy read as well. So definitely not something you want to just go into lightly. You want to make sure
Right.
that you're prepared for some of the content that's in the book.
Well, thanks for the
So
warning on that.
yeah, does
Yes.
the book start after the death of his wife, or I don't want to do any spoilers, but I'm just asking
Yes.
plot wise.
Yes, the book does start after the death of his wife. However, his wife, while Dresden and Harper are the two main characters, I kind of feel like Nina is an additional character. She's also a character in the book, although she has passed on. She really is convincing him that it's time for him to get out and start trying to find himself again and find love again. So she really does play a huge part in Dresden and Harper's love story, although she's passed on. But it does start after his wife has passed on.
So either her
Okay.
memory or her ghost
Yeah.
is prominent. And
Well, don't make it sound morbid, Gwen.
Yes,
not
yes.
morbid. It could be her
It's more of
spirit.
him
Maybe I
looking,
shouldn't say her ghost. Her spirit. Is that better?
yeah, he's looking to her as his kind of spiritual guidance, and he, she comes to him in the form of the wind blowing, or different things like that. So he
Mhm.
knows when Nina is trying to talk to him and tell him, get up, go. Yes, you should go and have dinner with this woman, or you should go and talk to her. So Nina definitely plays an important part in the book as well.
I think this is a great book for widowers. I think a lot of times the attention is given to widows and women in particular, and sometimes we forget that men who have lost their wives, who were possibly the love of their lives, they don't easily get over that.
Absolutely.
When I first moved to the DMV, I was introduced to a very attractive man, but he was a widower. And not only was he
Mhm.
a widower, his wife had died like just about a year before I met him.
Oh,
I
wow.
knew this man was not ready to date. He was not
That's
ready to
right.
date at all, but he was trying. And then as soon as he started to get a little bit close, he pulled back. So I was like, okay, that's enough of that. We can be friends.
Yes,
But
yes.
no,
It's
you're not going to put me through the emotions because you're dealing with your
That's
emotions.
right. There's definitely a process, and I think I did a IG live talk, I guess maybe a couple weeks before Christmas with a
Hmm.
friend who's also a therapist who also is the wife of a widow. And we just talked about her journey through, dating a man who had lost his wife and had children or a child with her and what that experience was for her. And kind of similarly, it was like, we can be friends right now. And they kind of
Hmm.
circled back to each other later on. But he wasn't ready. And then when he was ready, the time just came together and they were able to, get together and now have been married, I don't know, 10 years, I think.
That's good. That's
So
good.
yeah, so it happens. It happens, definitely.
Yeah, it just takes patience.
It takes patience, absolutely.
Now it sounds kind of like he's a man who would like to be a husband again. And there's a prevailing thought, attitude, or trope maybe that men like run from marriage. So,
Mhm.
what made you write about a man who desires to be a husband?
Yeah, so I don't know if you all watched it was kind of a docu-series called Black Love that came out, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
I used to watch that every once in a while, and there were some really great
Loved,
love stories.
loved that show. And there was a couple on the show where the wife had dealt with breast cancer in the past, and the breast cancer actually came back and started to spread. And she decided to stop doing treatment. But in the episode, she was talking about, like, babe, I want you to find love again. You are such an amazing husband. Somebody deserves to be loved this way. And I was like, whoa, that takes a
That's
lot for her to
yeah.
know that she's dying and to really encourage her husband. So that story always kind of stayed with me. And eventually after that aired, I think she passed away maybe like a few months after that. And fast forward some years, I've always wondered, like, what happened to him? Like, what is he doing? Because they had kids and all these kind of things. So that's really where the story came from
I was
is,
just going to ask you what inspired you to write this story. And
yeah,
it's funny that, well, maybe not funny, but it's funny that it was that show, Black
yeah,
Love, that inspired that because I didn't watch every episode, but there were some beautiful love stories in
absolutely.
on that show. But that one in particular, I didn't see that one, but I could see why that would have inspired you.
And it just, that story stuck with me. They were in their 40s, and I'm in my 40s. I have a husband. We have children, and I'm thinking like, wow, would I be that kind of woman?
Right.
If God forbid I was dying for knowing that I'm dying, and would I be that type of woman to be like, babe, you deserve to have love and to find your next true love? I don't know. So it was very interesting to actually write about it and see the journey that Dresden had to take. And even Harper in this story, she's kind of dealing with her own type of grief. I don't want to give any spoilers,
Mhm.
but she's dealing with her own type of grief with the loss of a loved one. So they're also trying to make sure, are we just like swapping grief? Are we just
Mm.
together because we're both, dealing with grief in our lives at the same around the same time? So they really had to explore that too, to determine, am I just jumping into something just because we both know what loss feels like, or is this truly love for us?
That's a mature question.
It is.
That's a very
Yes.
mature question.
Yes.
Mhm.
And
There
they're in
was
their mid 40s. They had to have mature conversations. They're in their mid
right,
40s. So,
right. They're not kids. Um, there was an episode of Law and Order where Law and Order, the original Law and Order and the earlier seasons, like up to maybe 12 or something like that. But anyway, there was an episode about a couple that met in a support group for the relatives of 9/11 victims, the people
mm,
who died in 9/11. And it ended up turning out to have a twist at the end. But they met in the support group. And I get if you're grieving, about, another person, I'm wondering if that's enough to hold this. It's a commonality, but is it enough
Hmm.
to hold a relationship together long term?
Right. And I don't think it is. And I think
I
that's
think you have to have
what,
more than that because that's gonna
yeah,
eventually fade. Not,
absolutely.
you'll grieve your loved one, but in order for you to be with somebody else, it has to fade. Somewhat.
Absolutely.
You can't, trying
And
to
they
trying to
really,
do on the rebound. That's like being on the rebound if you're just trying to
Right.
separate.
exactly.
You know.
Same thing, just a
Hmm.
little heavier than just losing your boyfriend and he went off and
Right.
found somebody else. But
Right.
and they do explore those topics in the book of making sure like do we even like each other? And they actually
Hmm.
did. And it was very like cute and flirtatious. And that's what I really liked about it because Dresden had been with his wife since they were in college in their
Hmm.
20s. And
Hmm.
now, she passed away in her early 40s. So she was literally all that he knew in terms of a woman. So even
Right.
looking at this woman, like, she's nothing like Nina. How can I even be attracted to her, like her, any of those things? Because she was nothing like his deceased wife. And he really had to kind of go through and explore those things.
Yeah, it's almost better if she's not because then you're trying to substitute a person who's, you
Right.
can't live up
Right.
to
Exactly.
someone's spirit. I'll use spirit instead of coach. You can't live up to that. You know,
Absolutely.
if they're still
Mm-mm. I mean,
longing for the other person and they see
yeah.
you as a substitute, you can't live up to that. That's
And
a
what
bar.
woman even
Yeah,
living wants to
yeah,
see
exactly.
the person looking like them, acting like them? Like,
You're
Right.
right
I
about
don't think
that.
I would want
Pictures
that.
all over the place or whatever. That would just be too much.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah. And they
how
deal with that
did
as
you
well in the book.
did you talk to any like relationship experts or psychologists or anybody? Because with this type of story, you want to make sure that you get it right. Somebody maybe read this story because they're trying
Yeah.
to figure out their own situation.
Yeah, so like I said, I definitely talked to my friend who went through this herself, but she's
Mm-hmm.
also a therapist as well. So she's dealt with folks dealing with grief and loss and all of those types of things. So she was definitely able to kind of help me. I think too, I did a lot of research about you know, grief counseling. I went on websites to try to figure out like what are the supports that are out there? What are some of the
Right.
things that can happen? So when you're dealing with that kind of topic, even just his profession, as a writer, I have to do my research. Like I can't just assume that I know what it means to be a doctor, a
What do you
cancer
mean you don't
research
know?
specialist at that. Like I have a journalism degree. I do not have a medical degree. So
Yeah,
I
it's
have to do a lot of
fiction, but it
research.
still needs to be factual. You
Exactly.
can't,
Hmm.
Exactly.
you can't,
Exactly. So
go
I didn't
off
want to
the left
use
field.
words that I didn't know what they meant, especially if it was medical terms, because if, a real doctor is actually reading this, they're gonna be like, oh, she has no clue what she's talking about. So the research was definitely important.
Now, is
Absolutely.
this your first book?
No, this is actually my 14th book.
Oh,
I
Oh,
wow.
started writing
congratulations.
thank you. I started writing in 2019, published my first book in 2020.
You've written
And
14 books in less than 5 years?
I
You
know
are a
that's,
writing somebody. It's probably that journalism
Mhm.
in
You are.
you.
and I kind of think like, oh, I need to do more. And then when I hear people say that, I'm like, oh, maybe I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty fast, the pace. Because that's like three a year average.
Yeah, and that's about right. I like to do about 3 to 4 books a year if I can. Last year was a different year, so I'll have to catch up this year. But I started writing in 2020 just as a challenge to myself, actually. I joke with people and always say, I was either gonna be an alcoholic during COVID or channel that energy in some other kind of way.
Well, we're
So
glad
I
you chose
channeled
the
it in
latter.
another way. I chose the other way. and I joined kind of a writing group with a group of other Black women, and we wrote a holiday series of short stories. All of us, our first time publishing a book. And I just kind of got the bug and kept writing and kept writing and kept writing. So, and fast forward to now, you know, I've published now 14 books, and this is my first book under Black Odyssey Media, which has been an amazing experience. I'm just excited for what's to come and what the next steps are.
Wow. So how do you find the passion, not so much the passion, but the inspiration? You know, to be able to write 3 books a year, those are a lot of ideas swirling around your
Yeah.
head. That there's probably a lot of time that you have to allot to writing. So how do you keep your ideas in line?
Yeah.
And how do you find the time to get the writing done?
Yep, those are great questions. So, in terms of the ideas, I can find inspiration in anything. Clearly, I was looking at a TV
Yeah,
show and it stuck
hey,
with me.
those are some good
So,
inspirations.
I can find inspiration in just about anything. And I have a pretty vivid imagination, and I always have. So, I've always loved to like write and journal and write poems and just have some kind of creative outlet. So, I
Right.
think for me, the inspiration comes through anything. And, you know, I don't know if you've seen those t-shirts. It's like, I'm an author. Anything you say is like fair game. It
Yes.
can end up in the book. So my
Yes.
friends are like, oh my God, we, you know, took a girls trip and suddenly I see things that happened at our girls trip in a book. Like, so stuff, I could get inspiration anywhere. And I think in terms of like how I keep it all together is I give myself time between books. I award myself with being able to read books of my favorite authors. So I take a break so I can kind of turn my brain off and fangirl on the people that I love to, you know, read their books. I'm an audiobook lover, so I can listen to audiobooks.
Thank you. Finally, another audiobook lover on
Yes,
this show. I
yes.
keep telling people audiobooks are the jam. They don't want to listen to me.
And
I
if you
can't,
have the right
I can't.
narrators,
Yes.
it makes you
Okay.
feel like you're in a movie.
Yes.
Okay.
Like you are literally in a movie. If you have the right narrators. Now, a narrator can make or break. They can
Okay.
make or
I
break.
was at
I
the
hear
gym
you.
today and I was listening to an audiobook, and this is actually a British audiobook. So
Mm,
you have to get past the accent, but it made sense because the story takes place in
yes,
England. So
yes,
it's best to have a British narrator. But I'm
absolutely.
enjoying the story so far.
Absolutely. And I used to do audiobooks like you know, spiritual, self-help. I would do those in audio anyway, because I like to write down and
Yeah,
kind
that
of,
makes sense.
but then when I listened to my first romance audiobook, I was like, oh, this is the life. Like
Sometimes when they get to the sex scenes, though, I got to turn it down. I'm like, somebody might be hearing me.
you definitely need headphones. You
Yes.
you can't turn it up too loud in the car. You know, you pull up to the gas station, people like, whoa, what are you listening
Right.
to? But
Well,
I just get inspiration from just about anything. I give myself time. I don't rush. So if it takes me 3 months or if it takes me 6 months to write a book, I'm okay with that. Black Odyssey Media may not like that because I'm on deadlines, but I do like to give myself time.
okay. Well, we're at the end of our time for the interview. I did want to say one of our viewers is the Social Book Club. I don't know who the administrator is for that group, but they watch the show. And she said she just purchased an autographed copy of your book on the link that was posted. So you got a sale
Awesome. Thank
already,
you.
at least
Yes,
one.
I will
And
be met. Well, I couldn't get out the house today, so I'll be mailing all the things. If we can get out tomorrow and the streets are clear, I will definitely be putting all the books in the mail.
okay, well,
That's
show us
wonderful.
the cover of your book one more time.
Yes, Somebody's
Okay, Somebody's
Husband by
Husband
Robbi
by
Renee.
Robin Renee.
Yes,
And
you can
we
get it
will,
everywhere books are sold,
okay.
including Target. I'm so excited. I finally got to see it in
Yay,
Target. So I'm so excited.
Target!
Well, we will see you in October at the National Black Book Festival.
Yes,
And
thank you
until
so
then,
much.
I hope you sell a ton of books.
I hope so too.
Thank you
Have a
so
good
much.
one.
for
Thank
being a
you.
guest on my
Bye.
show. Okay, have a nice evening.
Thank you.